Hey, Blue Table fans. Gonna ramble a little bit more. First off, there is a battle report coming. Ugh, got a little turkey tail there. All right. Yeah, we're doing a battle report. It's my two sons. Jonah is 20. Griffin is 17. And it's going to be Dark Angels versus, I do believe, Death Guard. Possibly Tyranids. Griffin has this thing where he'll just put his head down and he'll paint an army. Like somehow he just acquires everything, assembles everything, and just does it. It's the most amazing thing. So that's happening. Congratulations. You got it to go. I think it's been a year since I've made one. No, not a year. I was doing my Necrons last year, right? Yeah. I think I set those down in September. I miss them. I wish I would have kept that army. It just makes me so sad. But that's how it goes. And I'm not here to keep armies. I'm here to sell armies. But I do dream one day of keeping my armies, putting them on a nice display. That's the dream. That's the only thing left. All right. So here we go. I did tips for getting into D&D. Okay, how to begin playing 40K. Oh boy. So first off, it's not an inexpensive hobby. It takes a huge amount of time if you're going to assemble and paint everything yourself, especially if you have to teach yourself the skills from scratch. Oh boy. Well, why don't I tell you how I started. It was 1997 and I ran various role-playing games, and I was running a Dragonlance, and I converted all 14 Dragonlance modules to GURPS, Generic Universal Role-Playing System. And oh, so hot. My house in Medford, Oregon did not have air conditioning, and it was hotter than heck in that house. It was so bad. How did I live? So I was running Dragonlance, and I had two friends, Aaron and Sean, who came over, and they were playing in my D&D game. Or was it Changeling? Well, because I ran Dragonlance and then I ran Changeling. Changeling is a World of Darkness thing about the Fae realm. So it's a role-playing game with fairies. And it's really good. They did a really good job on it. Anyway, so no, it was Dungeons and Dragons. No, it was Changeling. Yeah, for sure. In fact, I remember something that Sean's character did. Oh man, at the very last session he betrays the group, and he was waiting the whole time to do it. So anyway, so they had Dragon magazines with them one time, and I was like looking at it, and I was like hooked. I'm like, what is this world? And they left a few with me, and then the rest is history. That summer I got an Eldar army for $1 per figure. It was 54 aspect warriors, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, well, the Dark Reapers have black armor. I'll spray paint them gloss black. Bad news. Oh, the advice I got was terrible. I knew nothing about what I was doing. And at the time, the internet wasn't great, and there weren't really any how to paint books out. There was one called Heavy Metal with Mike McVeigh, I think that guy's name was. And he's like, how to paint an Eldar gym. And I was like, what? You're going to do this tiny, tiny little thing the size of a chia seed? No, smaller. And now, of course, I'm like, well, that's the easiest thing in the world. Of course you would do it that way. And so I started painting and playing with Sean and Aaron. Aaron played orcs and Sean played Space Marines. So in my first game, Sean just annihilated me. And I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, oh, I'll charge that tank with my Howling Banshees. Ooh, there, get him. And of course I got annihilated. Hello? Nope, I'm hearing that from upstairs. All right. But of course, the truth is that if someone's a better player, they're going to manhandle you. And if it's a competitive game, that's just how it is. You got to be a good sport and up your game, because a lot of it has to do with your skill level and not the army list or whatever it is. That has something to do with it. I don't think Games Workshop is ever going to balance the game. I thought in ninth edition, I was like, oh, they're getting serious about actually balancing everything. No, no, they're never going to do it. And so I think I'm going to go narrative. Yeah, and in fact, I could combine the two things. I could do a 40K narrative game, and then I could bring all the things I love about role playing and have it be 40K as well. I think that'll be fun. So how to get into 40K? Well, you need to get your own collection together, which is just mental fortitude and financial fortitude. You got to buy the things, buy the models, get them assembled and painted. Of course, my company, Blue Table Painting, I exist for the people that don't want to do all that. I have clients who just send me an army list. Make this. And and I want it painted these colors. Or sometimes they'll just say, here's the army list. Go nuts, and they just pay me to do it, and money comes in and models go out. And that's always been very exciting for me, is to create an army from scratch, because I'm really good at it. I know lots of different ways to make it look cool, and the different options, magnetization and all that, and I can just make it happen. So the second thing is to get a group. The first thing I would do is just go down to your local shop, and also go on social media. I don't know what's happening to me. I slept well last night. Seriously, I slept like 10 hours last night. Maybe because I'm talking, all the air's going out, and no air's coming in. All right. Go to your local shop, get on some local Facebook groups, and just say, I'm new, I'm looking to get in the game. Most places have a friendly group that will help you out. Okay, Rick K asked for D&D recaps. I'm going to do that in a separate video, Rick. Thanks a lot. So thank you very much for that. Mark O asks, what makes a good conversion? Oh, I do have opinions about this. First off, in Blue Table Painting parlance, like our interior way of talking, there's something called sprinkling, which is you... I don't know, 15 years ago I had an assembler who's like, make a chaos tank. So he took the Land Raider and he literally just glued chaos pieces at random over the tank. That's called sprinkling. And that's bad. Like, he literally just glued like an arm with an axe on it and like a tentacle. I was just like, this makes no sense. So number one with conversions is they need to be they need to have a narrative, a reason that they're there, that goes somehow with the army. And the other thing is, the second thing that makes a good conversion is that it integrates with the model itself. So it's like a smooth conversion. Don't just slap something on the top and with no edges around it. You got to like green stuff that in, you got to carve it in, you got to make sure it fits somewhere that makes sense. Now, a conversion that's just a swap out, like you put in a different type of head, or you put it on different arms or weapons or whatever, that's a type of conversion called a kit bash, where you're taking a whole piece from one kit, you're integrating it with another kit in a natural sort of way, and that's technically not a conversion. Or it's a specific type of conversion. And so narrative and also consistency, like integration, I would say. Those two things. William H. says simply boobs. Oh, yes, I have opinions about this too. Boobs are awesome. And by the way, there goes any chance of future political career, so record that. So if I ever run for office, you can have that pop up on a commercial or something. So I think that that's in a human's life, that's kind of your first positive run-in, and I think boobs are great. So there you go. And you know, if you've seen one pair, well, now you want to see the rest of them. I think that's Ron White that does that joke. Okay. The other thing is, I thought, would it be funny if there was some alternate reality where a guy's balls were treated the same way as boobs are? Like, you know, you'd go to a concert and you'd like flash your balls, and they would let you, the female security guard would be like, ooh la la, and she would like let you in, and you'd have like ball cleavage showing, and all the ladies would be like trying to look at them and get in there and grab them. Right. I told that to my wife, and she just thought that was hilarious. She's like, wow, that makes absolutely no sense. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe not much about humans makes sense. Okay, next one is Alexis K. Oh, and by the way, hey there. I hope life is good in Iceland and that you're doing well. And Alexis, she's always treated me really super well at Valhalla and been very kind. And what a pleasant and inviting person. Fantastic. Okay, so she says D&D and positive effects on mental health. Yeah, totally. I completely agree. The question is why? Well, because it's a fantasy, and I think fantasizing is the great human power. I don't think that lions think of like lion fan fiction and how to write it. You know, I don't know if I don't think animals have fantasies, is what I'm saying. But humans do, and I think Dungeons and Dragons is great. And I think the major fantasy that people have when they're role-playing is power. That in this, excuse me, I'm making you yawn too. Sometimes my wife and I will get in a yawning feedback loop. Like I'll yawn, which will make her yawn, which will make me yawn. we'll have to go in a separate room to break the yawning loop. It's making me yawn just to think about yawning. All right, so D&D and positive effects on mental health. Oh yeah, so when as a dungeon master, I'm the host. I control the whole world. I set the stage. Everything sort of revolves around me. I am the simulation. So the question is, what is the fantasy that my players want to have? And I don't think it's good for a dungeon master to thwart the player's fantasy. So it's the old murder hobo thing, where players will go around and they're just like killing people and burning down towns and stuff. I'm like, well, if that's the fantasy they want to have, and that's stuff they couldn't do in real life, and maybe a lot of times people, they don't have power in their real lives, so Dungeons and Dragons allows people to have a communal fantasy and escape what their reality is. And I think that's really good for your mental health, and I think it gives good perspective on real life, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm all for it. I love role-playing games. I can't get enough of them. I just had one today. I have an online game on Wednesdays, and it is fantastico. In fact, I'm going to tell you all about it on this other video. So, let's see, D&D, so yeah, there you go, there's that one. Okay, next question is, did you see Under the Banner of Heaven? This is from Dominic L. So thank you very much, Dominic. I have not seen that movie, but because you wrote this, I went and saw the trailer for it. And it's a little too heavy. It's a lot of drama for me. I like adventures and sci-fi and comedies, things that are lighthearted. You know, life is serious enough. And I think that's what's going on in movie theaters now. It's like, hey, I made this serious movie. No one came to watch it. I'm like, yeah, because life is really off the rails nowadays, and people they want to go to escape. They want something lighthearted. They want something fun. They want to see Spider-Man. They want to see the Avengers, and they want to go see something that's light. That's what I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Bob's Burgers, the movie. I took the kids to see that, and my oldest daughter had the genius idea that she was going to smuggle in burgers. So she bought a bunch of burgers, like 10 burgers, and snuck them into the theater, and we ate burgers while watching Bob's Burgers. Isn't that genius? My kids are so great. I was like, I look at them, and I'm so proud, and I'm so pleased. And by the way, on the other hand, if you're going through life and you don't want to have kids, I think that's a legitimate thing too. It's tough because you can't do both. It's like an alternate reality thing. You can't have kids and not have kids. But the thing is, kids need a cool aunt or a cool uncle. And the parents certainly need someone to take them off their hands for a night and, give them a break. So there's that role too. It's okay to assume that role. And, so I think that's, anyway, but Under Banner of Heaven, it has something to do with Mormonism, I can tell that. And as you know, I used to be a Mormon. From age 15, I converted, and then out at age, I don't know, I want to say 45, probably maybe 42, age 42 or 43. So I was in like 27 years, absolutely loved it. I had a great experience. no one makes, unless you're a kid, no one makes you be in it. So, like, I never get why people complain about, by the way, this has nothing to do with the movie. I don't know what the movie's about. It does seem like they show kind of like, ooh, the darker side of Mormonism. I'm like, well, maybe that exists, but I never saw it. And I got to tell you, it doesn't irritate me, but I'm not into people who slag off on the Mormon church because, you know, I liked it. It helped me a lot. And I think it is for some people. And obviously a certain percentage of the population is Mormon. So, you know, I can't judge other people's lives. I don't know. I don't make recommendations. I don't proselytize. I don't tell people maybe they should try this out. Because frankly, guys, I don't know. I'm barely capable of running my own life. So I certainly don't go telling other people to do things. Sometimes I'll be excited about a movie or whatever. But, you know, I don't know. I just have my own thing that I'm doing, and that's it. So anyway, haven't seen Under the Banner of the Heaven. It looks a little heavy. Looks like it slags off just a little tiny bit, at least, on Mormons. And I always laugh because there's Mormon temples, which is different from a church. So a temple is like, not everybody goes into it, and there's rituals that they do there. And which I'm familiar with. I used to be a temple worker, and you're not supposed to talk about them when you leave. But of course, now in the age of the internet, it's easy as pie to go look it up. But I've looked up some of those, and I laugh because they try and make it look like all dark and somber. And I'm like, that's not what it's like. It's not what it's like at all. People are nice in there, you know. It's a bunch of older people, kind of like running the show, and it's a good feeling. But that ties into like another thing, and that's sort of my personal life view, choice of perception thing, which is, well, you see things through the glasses that you put on yourself. Let me make it about me. I see things through the glasses I put on myself. So, you know, if I got a bad attitude, I'm going to see bad things. And if I have a really good attitude, which I do most of the time, I see good things. And by the way, that's a problem with Sean, is that, like, I don't see the bad in people, even when it exists. Because humans tend to project their own qualities onto other people. So I can't conceive that other people have, like, these evil things, and I'm like, well, how could that possibly be? So I don't see them. So I've gone through life kind of naive about things. So, all right, guys, that is my ramble for the day. And I hope you enjoyed it.